Alright, I'm just going to try explain in order what I did after I bought the XR6 Turbo. If you go back on my channel, you can look, I've made a playlist there. First video, I went through little things like the handbrake cover. You know, those things wear out pretty often, so $10 from a Wreckers. I got one of them, which is pretty good. But one of the main issues that the car came with was it was owned by, I want to say, a mother of 2 kids. The boot had a pretty big dent in it, so you'd shut it, and there was this big lip on the side that would just open up. I want to say maybe she put her kids' handlebars from a scooter or a bike or something like that was left out, and she slammed it, and it's actually cracked. Hopefully I got the video. And also the boot latch didn't latch anymore. That was also broken. So yeah, just minor stuff like that. The whole boot itself needed to be replaced. So I think in the second video in the playlist, that's what I did. Fixed all the cosmetics. New boot, you know, sprayed it up to match the car. Also resprayed my spoiler since it was the only thing healing clear coat. As you can see, me and Alistair fit the boot on and fit the spoiler back on. And I got a new latch from the Wreckers and we got it all to work. Looks great. The third video I ever made on the car was just me rebadging the boot. I had to take the old badges off and put them back on the new boot with the turbo badge and all that. So that was a very short video. The third video in the turbo playlist. Just brung it all together. All the cosmetic stuff done. Pretty much left you there. I missed out on a bunch of great content I could have filmed. I was at the best part in the build. The first thing I did was the Ants turbo side intake with battery relocation. Bolted that in, you know, no tune or anything in it. She had a good dose about her. I love that. I think the next thing I did was stage 2 Ants performance intercooler. Right, I got the little minion helping me. Just comparing the old to the new. My fucking god, so thick. Definitely a bit longer and a fuck ton taller.
What do you mean by that?
Just chucked that in. That was all from Ants Performance. Then the next thing I did was a full X-Force turbo back exhaust, 3.5 inch, all the way through, 2 sports mufflers, obviously a high flow cat with I think 3-inch tips on the rear of the muffler. Looks really good, sounds great, you know. And then at that stage I was like, okay, we need to do fueling. So I bought a Walbro 460 fuel pump and I bought 1000cc expert injectors. So that should be the fueling pretty well done there. So then I actually called up the tuner who I was going to go to, which was Real Dyno down in the Gold Coast there. Lee from Real Dyno knows his stuff with these cars. Well, first I called him and said, this is what I've done so far. What else can we do here? And he said, okay, you know, 213,000 Ks, atomic timing chain, something along those lines, with a genuine tensioner and valve springs. I went with your medium duty Crocam valve springs and that's it. Those are the only 2 reliability mods I actually paid a mechanic to install for me since I didn't have the knowledge or the tools at the time, and I still sort of don't. But everything else was just bolt-ons. Very, very, very simple. And then the tuner said to me, he wanted me to get rid of the crossover pipe that goes over the engine, down and in front of the car, and then down into the intercooler. He says, that's way too restrictive. If you want anything over that 500 horsepower mark, easily over that 500 horsepower mark, then get rid of that. He likes the Plasma Man's kit, the elbow that goes right around and down straight into the intercooler, which, you know, it looks really efficient, makes sense. The thing is, you need to either get the battery relocated to the boot now or somewhere in your bumper. So that Plasma Man kit was like 700, 800 bucks or something, you know, pretty pricey, but whacked that on. And got the bumper battery relocation. I sort of wish I did stuff around with the boot relocation now, and I think I want to do that in the future, just because I don't like having my battery sitting right in front of my front wheel. So that's where my battery sits. It looks good, it's secure as, I've used Loctite on all the bolts that hold the tray in, but it just still gets to me, you know, sitting there. That's why I definitely in the future wouldn't mind a battery relocation to the boot. I'll just probably pay a shop to get it properly done. So yeah, and then the last thing he got me to do was with the turbo. He says, is it stock? Have you done anything? I said, yep, it's completely stock turbo. I'm not sure how old the core is. It had a little bit of shaft play and I let him know that. So the tuner said, look, buy a 3582R core to drop in, I'm pretty sure. Went for one of them front housing stock, but I went for an external rear housing from Pulsar with a 45mm wastegate and a screamer pipe. Yes, I know, the wanky screamer pipe. People say you'll get bored of it. Not me, man. I love it so much and I don't take the car out much. So after that phone call, I did the timing chain, valve springs, the rear housing with external gate, the screamer pipe, 10 PSI spring, because the car's on PCM tech, so it's got the multi-4 software. So I've got low boost, high boost, boost by gear, and valet mode. I'll go through that in a second. For low boost, the car is actually going to be run up on your spring pressure. So your electronic boost controller won't add any boost in the pull. It's just going to be running your factory spring pressure, and then the gate will open and let out any PSI after 10. Yeah, after all the mods, dropped it off to Real Dyno to get the 4 tune software done. Ripped the car, had all these bolt-ons, so I had to baby it all the way to his shop. Went in there, sort of had a chat with the tuner Lee, and yeah, I think they had the car for like 6.5 hours. So me and Matt just walked down to, there was the main shopping centre down the road from the dyno, so, and it had a really nice cinema. We actually went and watched the new Deadpool while we waited. I don't know, about halfway through, Matthew fell asleep. The poor bugger was absolutely rooted the night before, but I strung him along for tune day.
Well, this has been fun, but the big guy needs to eat and the rent is due.
Yeah, after that I woke him up, we were out of there. We walked back to the dyno, and I'm not sure if I got any videos. I play it if I do. Anyone who spent a good amount of time, like I mean a good amount of time, working on a car, building it up, spending the money, headaches, and then getting it thrashed on a dyno, it's one of the scariest fucking feelings you'll ever feel, man, because you don't want it to be all for nothing. And then for the last hour, we sat about a block away and got a call saying it's all done. And I was so excited. You know, we walked back down and I walked back in the office and just say all done, hand me a sheet. So before I skip to the source, low boost was obviously on the 10 PSI spring. With no added boost from the electronic boost controller, we made 385 wheel horsepower. Well, at the hubs anyway, so because it's on a hub dyno, which was very exciting. So 10 psi, 385 horsepower, goes really good. High boost, an extra 5 psi, that's it, and we made 516.9. And yeah, I was fucking super excited, man. Super scared to drive it hard on the way back. That I didn't even touch the floor once, and the whole drive, Matt was just like, get on it, get on it. Man, I wasn't even half foot, and it felt crazy, and it still feels crazy today. About 3 to 4 days after I got it tuned, I was playing around with it a lot and got confident, just started smacking it, hitting it to the floor. And the input shafts, you shouldn't let them kick down too hard in the ZF6 boxes on these cars. Since then, the only other upgrade since I've tuned the car is I've bought a factory BA XR6 turbo diff center, so factory LSD, but the difference would be the gearing. So 273 to 1 in the BF turbos, and I've chucked the 345 to 1 from a BA turbo in there, and my God, does it fucking really go down low now, this car. That's really everything. I know it's a bit of a long video. Hopefully there's enough clips in there to keep you guys from looking at my face this whole time and getting bored and clicking off. I know a lot of you guys have been asking in the comments on my intake video and a couple of shorts where you've seen the turbo in the background. You've asked a lot about the turbo setup, and even one guy asked if I can make a video on it. So yeah, that's really it. Just bolt-on mods, over 200,000 Ks. Just what they're capable of, these Barra engines, especially with the BF Mark IIs and onwards. And I could go through and break down the price of a lot of these mods for you if you really wanted me to. That's just a quick rundown on what I did, how I got the power. There's still a lot to do to this car. Yeah, next video, I'm hoping we can get the draggy out, quickly show you the car a bit closer, see if we can pull a sub 5 seconds, get into the 4 seconds on the 0 to 100. On that quarter mile. So that was the rundown on the build, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I didn't miss out on too much information. Hopefully there's enough clips there and I relayed everything in a structured order. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, got a video to edit, so see you guys in the next one. Cheers.